Happy New Year, everybody. And if you're a Broncos fan and you love mock drafts, you're in the right place. As you guys know, we cover the whole entire NFL. I'm here with my co-hosts, Adrian Soup Campbell and Michael Williams. Mike Williams is going to kick this episode off first. And I want everybody to go down below and comment on whose mock draft you like the most. Do you like Mike's more or do you like Adrian's more? Mike, go ahead and take it away. And then Mike, once you're done, we'll move on to Adrian.
Yes, it sounds good, man. So this draft we did was no trades. Obviously, we know that's not going to be realistic in a draft. Almost every team is going to make some kind of trade. But in this situation, Jaden Daniels fell to 14.
Right off the rip, it's a fantasy.
I don't think in real life he'll fall to 14. If he does, if he does, that'd be one of the only players I would be happy the Broncos pulled at 15 and not trade, or 14 and not trade down. I think we should trade down, get another first, or get a first and get a second because we don't have a second round pick. But Jaden Daniels was there, instant franchise quarterback, 10 plus years, and we'd be set.
Investigate the other 13 teams in front of them.
Absolutely. I think somebody's going to fall in love with another quarterback and let him drop, which I'll be happy about. But next thing is a consistent sticking point that we've had. Two are addressing the next two things. Kalen Carson from Wake Forest. A big physical corner, can play zone coverage well, can play man coverage well. Not the fastest guy on earth, but, Pat Surtain's going to lock down half the field. Justin Simmons is going to be able to help Kalen Carson over the top on the other half of the field. He's a guy that I think can develop and definitely be a starter, absolutely play right away, not like some of the corners we had this year that just got drafted and were running special teams. And Jordan Burch, like Soup knows, I talk to him about this all the time, second favorite defensive end, opposite his counterpart at Oregon, but big physical, 6'3", 290 defensive end, is literally built to be a 3-4 defensive end. Has a phenomenal run stopper. That's really what we need in edges for the 3-4 defense. We don't need somebody to rush the passer. We need somebody to absorb blocks. He'll do that perfectly and develop into something that we haven't had since that 2016 team. And then Nazir Stackhouse, like really the middle of our defense. And you can kind of see, Doug, we played the Dolphins, right, man? Like they took that zone defense they had. We don't have a true nose tackle. We lost Malik Jackson, a few years ago. We lost Draymond Jones, etc. So we don't have that true run-stopping defensive lineman. These two would fix that. Nazir Stackhouse, like 6'3", 330, just a big force in the middle, right? Again, it'll take him a little time to adjust, but he can come in first, 2 downs, goal line, and really help stop the run. Dallin Holker, tight end, is a weapon at Colorado State. He was second, I believe, or first in whole college football.
Big time possession receiver.
Big time possession receiver. And unfortunately, our tight end has been hurt when we just drafted a year ago. He's been hurt, right? Hasn't been able to be the player that we thought he would be able to be. Maybe he comes back, but he's had consistent hamstring issues for almost 2 years. So I think worst case, having Dallin Holker come in and be able to compete, have another healthy tight end. Best case scenario, have both those cats healthy for next year, and that's 2 weapons at tight end. And then Luke Reimer, right, at linebacker. I have a hard time believing we're going to bring back Josie Jewell and Alex Singleton. So Luke Reimer is a guy that can develop. Really behind, so we picked a couple linemen up this year. Drew Sanders is an athlete. I think he'll develop, and next year probably be starting. But Luke Reimer is a guy that can come in and play special teams. He's a guy that can develop into that like tackle machine kind of role. So if we have a draft like this, or we don't trade down, which like I said, likely won't happen, this would be ideal to address his needs. Most of these guys would be playing right away. Jaden Daniels would help hold down that spot with the weapons we have, and Sean Payton's offense would be solid.
Listen here, if you guys come down with this draft, even if everybody was a bust, if you guys came up with Jaden Daniels, you guys won. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. You win the draft.
I agree, especially at 14. Again, that's probably not going to happen, but
yeah.
What's interesting too, there's going to be quarterbacks quarterbacks plural who they slide. Let's say the NFL Combine, like when that happens, there's gonna be somebody who doesn't perform well. Could be Drake May, could be Caleb Williams. 49ers, excuse me, not 40.
I was like,
did that mock draft.
Yeah,
the Broncos are going to get a quarterback. I believe whether it's probably not going to be Jaden Daniels, but somebody's going to slide, man.
So, I mean, here's the thing about this quarterback class. I think you could argue there's maybe 3 to 5 quarterbacks that you would consider top tier talent, but then there's a bunch that are just right under that tier. There's a good section of them. I think the problem is where the Broncos currently sit right now in terms of for a quarterback. There are a lot of quarterback needy teams that are in front of them. There's a lot of media reports, obviously, with Chicago locking up the 1 seed thanks to Carolina's inept performance this season. There's a lot of noise coming out that it sounds like they're going to move forward with Justin Fields. I wouldn't. That's not a comment on Justin Fields' ability. That's more from a financial standpoint. I would want to restart the clock because that team, you could do something else. And I think if you put in a Caleb Williams or something, but then the Commanders are looking for a quarterback. The Patriots are definitely going to be looking for a quarterback. Arizona, I think, is going to stand pat on Kyler Murray, and that's where I think you're going to see you're going to see the first receiver off the board go there, unless the Bears take them. But like New York, I could see them drafting the quarterback. I know they just paid Daniel Jones. I could still see them drafting the quarterback. Tennessee, I don't think they're stuck on Will Levis. I could see them going. The Jets should draft a quarterback. They won't because Aaron Rodgers is there. Atlanta too, and Atlanta's there, and then the Raiders are still in front of them. The Vikings are still in front of them. Like there are plenty of teams that I don't think Jaden Daniels makes it past all of those guys without the Broncos making a move. Bo Nix is likely the quarterback that goes at 14.
I do not want Bo Nix at all.
I don't want him for you either, but I'm just saying in reality.
All right, so moving on to scenario number 2. Here it is. Soup, go ahead and take it away, my man.
Well, I mean, look, just piggybacking off of what Mike was saying, right? I think anybody that watched the Broncos this year, if you're a Broncos fan, you can agree that they have one corner, maybe 1.5 corners, right? Like a guy that might show up half the time. I think Denzel Burke out of Ohio State, me being a Michigan fan, I got front row seats to this guy. He's definitely going to help, Surtain come in and lock down that other half of the field, or, at least the last quarter of the field, because Surtain is going to be traveling and doing all that stuff. Michael Penix Jr., I think with the performance that he just put on in the, in this last game against Texas, there's no way he's falling out of the first round anymore. I think people had concerns about his age and his injury history, but failed to realize he's been healthy the last 2 seasons. He's a phenomenal quarterback. So if the Broncos could somehow steal him at 50, the entire NFL needs their heads examined. There's no reason he falls to the second round, but he's an absolute steal. Just watch any of his games this year. I'll tell you why. McKinley Jackson, big defensive tackle out of Texas A&M. They need run-stopping ability and people that plug holes on this Denver Broncos defense, right? I think we're kind of used to the Denver Broncos of yesteryear, and I'm not talking like 90s. I'm talking just maybe 5-6 years ago, right, where they had prominent edges, where we had Bradley Chubb, where we had Von Miller, right? So we're used to the Broncos having good pass rushes and people that have sound discipline, not letting the running backs get outside the tackles. But they're going to have to change their defensive approach because those guys are no longer on this roster. So I think McKinley Jackson helps stiffen that run game. Jordan Birch, you heard Mike's argument for Jordan Birch. I don't have a different argument against it. I think the only knock that I have on Jordan Birch, and it's probably the knock that other teams are going to have on him, which is why you're going to see him fall down to 93, is because the edge position where Mike made the point about he needs somebody that's going to help contribute to stopping the run as opposed to rushing the passer. He would be considered an undersized pass rusher at the edge at 6'3". You typically like to see those guys be a little bit longer, 6'4" and up. I know it's an inch difference, but we can make the joke. It matters.
That's what
but then at tight end, right? Tight end out of Minnesota, Brevin Spanford. This is another, big time possession tight end. That's the guy that you're going to in the red zone. This is the guy that you're going to on third down. And what I like about him is his physicality after the catch. He's not going to, he's not putting on any special moves, but you are going to have to make a sound tackle on this guy for him to go down. So I really like that. Jermaine Burton, right, a wide receiver. I think we can all agree that whether or not you believe that the Broncos wide receiver room is talented, we have yet to see them all appear on the field at once healthy. So Jermaine is going to give them that ability to help stretch the field, maybe fill some of the needs that we'll see what happens as the offseason. Maybe some people are not getting re-signed. Maybe some people are getting shipped out. He's not a 1, but I think he projects as a solid 2. He'll probably come into the league as I would say is probably a special teamer that works his way into that 3, that slot position, and then maybe can be a 2 for them. And then, Mike already mentioned it. The Broncos, they struck out in free agency with, trying to replace their tackles. I cannot say this guy's name.
I think it's Seitao
Lamo.
Shout out to all the Polynesian players in the college and the NFL. That is not my ministry. I can't say your names unless you got a cool one like Puka Nakua, because that kind of just rolls off the tongue. I can't say your name. That's no disrespect, no shade to you. But this is a guy out of Utah. And I think the thing that I like about offensive linemen for Utah, especially over the last 2 years, I think you've seen with that program, man, they've gone pound for pound with some of the most prolific offenses and defenses, in the country. And they've held up well, regardless who's under the center. I don't think he's a day one starter. I think you could put him in there if you absolutely had to, but this is a guy that you can put behind a starter, and I think he'll develop very, very quickly. It's going to be really great in pass protection. From what I've seen, he could use a little bit of help in run pro, but with Sean Payton, especially if you're familiar with his offense from his days in New Orleans, right? He wants to get the ball out quick. He wants to get the ball out quickly over the middle of the field, or wants to buy time to take the deep shots down the field. So this is a guy that projects maybe in the back half of this upcoming season or his second season in the NFL, he will be an NFL starter, and he'll give him that ability.
Yeah, Doug, real quick on this, man. And then there was a pick that didn't come through, but it was Jack Howell with 191, the safety from CSU. That he's the one that hit Travis Hunter, took him out. So the thing with him, quick dude, and definitely a good, nice.
Sean Payton's kind of player.
Physical player. And I really like everything that Soup did. Brevin Spann for 6'7", 269 tight end. That's really like having another tackle on the field. And Michael Penix Jr. I think he can go anywhere from top 10 to second round at the end, because there's going to be some teams that are going to just take him off their board because of his injuries. But this draft would be my favorite draft if we did this one, honestly.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Do you like Soups more, or do you like Michael Williams more? So comment below. Maybe you hate them both. I don't know, but comment below, and be sure to smash that subscribe button. We have the goal of doing a mock draft for all 32 NFL teams. It's going to take me about a week because I have a job and a life. So bear with me. And if you're new to the channel, we have one of the dopest, livest NFL draft series on the entire internet. I stand up against anybody. Check out live draft interviews of the actual players on this show. We'll catch you guys next time on the Touchdown with Doug Smith. Thanks for watching another episode of the Touchdown with Doug Smith, where I cover all 32 NFL teams plus NFL exclusive interviews. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for the alerts, comment below, and we'll catch you next time on the Touchdown with Doug Smith.